Greetings and welcome back to Stellaris, my Commonwealth of Man playthrough. It's time for the 2275 State of the Commonwealth. So we are halfway to the begin of mid-game. That means that because of the scaling AI bonuses I have done, they are now at the equivalent of Commodore difficulty, the difficulty I had played at last time. So they are halfway to their overall bonuses. By the year 2350, they will have double the modifiers they have now. Currently, I am not very high in the ratings. I'm about 18th. There's quite a few empires above us. But as I gain more subjects, that will help me climb up, and as my technology level increases, it's currently 360, I will get better. Now, that's still about half of what some of these higher ones have. Some of them have a significant amount. Yeah, the Multics, United Nations of Earth, Felnull Cooperative, most of the top few have over double my current tech level. United Latrepian Domains, the one that I am in the war against right now, has about 25% more or 30% more tech than I do. Now, we are currently at war with the Allied Independent Systems, a federation consisting of the Uthabulan Allied clans, the United Latrepian Domains, and the hegemony of Ubaria. My goal in this war is to make the United Latrepian Domains my subject. We have quite a bit of occupation of their territory and some occupation over here in the hegemony of Ubaria. However, they have a very sizable fleet, or cluster of fleets, traveling around over here. My fleets are kind of separated, so we are not in a position to take them on. As a matter of fact, we'll probably have a hard time getting Strike Force Gorgon back through this choke point with them there unless I can draw them away somehow. This system right here that I had to pass through nullifies shields. It would make a good ambush site if I could get one or two of the fleets to come through and ambush them on the other side, but no guarantees on that. We have just upgraded most of our fleets to have improved mass drivers, and they are currently trickling through damaged fleets into what will hopefully be a good ambush point. My fleets should be able to pick off a few of theirs before they can get together and help separate the big massive fleet amount that they had going through. There's still some sections over here where I'm not sure what empires are over here. There is an unidentified empire somewhere in this vicinity I have not encountered. We have 3 separate factions now that each have a good mix of the support of our populace. So more than likely I'm going to end up embracing this totalitarian faction at some point, and it will drop from fanatic militarist to a regular militarist and add authoritarian. It kind of depends on how much influence they gain. Right now they're split about 3 into about thirds, so we'll see how it goes. Now, we have located the home world of the First League and actually have a established colony on it. So we did locate our precursor. We already have one other subject, which is a prospectorium under us, the United Miravandian Imperium, which was a primitive civilization that acquired space travel. Other than that, we're fairly hemmed in right now. There's not really much room for further expansion beyond conquest, but I would like to keep my empire size down and end up making vassals of people rather than taking over their territory, especially since the majority of their territory is planets I cannot colonize. And I'm going to end up terraforming more than picking up other species that can inhabit worlds that humans cannot. We finally got our tech output up to a decent level. It's going to need to increase further as we gain more technology and the prices increase. And we need to increase our output of Unity because the cost for traditions is getting higher and higher. We only have one less tradition to pick in the domination tree, and then we can acquire a new tradition tree. As for our planets, Unity, our capital, we have brought back the Memorex, an enhanced learning program that is boosting both stability and resources on this world. We have performed a mastery of nature on this world, and we are assisting research on it. I am in the process of shifting it over to be an agricultural world, to have the majority of my food output, because it has such a plethora of agricultural districts available here. It does have an administrative office and a couple of research labs, and it does pretty good research output for my worlds. We have a mix of population on here. There are 3 different empires or primitive civilizations we conquered to provide slaves for us. The Farine, which are domestic servants. The Iknerval, who are chattel slaves that do the majority of our mundane work. And the Oxenlitters, who are our battle thralls, who make pretty good soldiers, and that's what makes up the majority of our armies, is their slaves. Flaxington, the first additional world we colonized, is a mining world. It has access to spore vents. We had found cave shrooms that put out spores that made us a little bit more feral, but we managed to harvest them into useful materials. Flaxington also is the home of the Nema, who are these giant turtle-like islands that we live upon, and we have enslaved them so that we can control them. We've also performed a mastery of nature here. This world is just about fully developed. I'm just adding additional city districts for more building slots so that I can expand the research. This is one of my primary research worlds because studying the Nemas gives us a bonus to society research. Dawnlight is currently a forge world with mining districts. It has a lot more potential for development at this point, but it's primarily going to be industrial districts that would end up being alloy. We currently have 2 forge worlds, and I'm not really sure we're going to need that much alloy output. We will see. I might end up switching one of these over to consumer goods. But it has much more development I can do on this world. No specific features or anything here. St. Natchbull, the first primitive civilization we conquered, is the home to the Farine. It is a tropical world. It is the only non-continental world we currently have a colony on. And we are in the process of building crystal mines here. It can also have a couple of moat harvesting traps when we get more building slots. It is a factory world with generator districts. Leffingwell, the second primitive civilization we took over, is the home of the Oxenlitters. It is a forge world with agriculture districts and the primary source of our naval capacity through soldiers. Doran, which is another world we have performed mastery of nature on, is the third primitive civilization we conquered and is the home of the Iknerval, our chattel slaves. It is also going to be an administrative center. Right now it is listed as a rural world, providing a little bit of agriculture, mining, and primarily generator districts. I'm actually going to go ahead and switch this over to be a generator world. We can take the small hit we will end up losing to the mining and agriculture, much more than, this is a 25% output to our technicians as opposed to the rural world, which only did 10% to all worker pop output. So it was just giving us 10% more food, 10% more mining. Now we're getting 15% more generator, and we could definitely use the extra energy credits. Citadel is over here in its own sector. This world is eventually going to be spun off to be another vassal, which we will turn into a Stellarium. That actually wouldn't be the best for this world, because it being limited to being a lone planet in a single system is going to make it really difficult for them to advance. There's only so much research they can output on a single planet. And as the cost for techs get higher and higher, it will fall behind. But having it as a Stellarium will give me benefits. I don't care if this world flourishes. I care about the benefits to the Empire. But it is pretty much developed enough for me to spin it off. I could end up building like a research facility on here and maybe an additional industrial district and a couple more mining districts to support it. But right now it does have positive, for the most part, production. It does need more consumer goods. Now, I don't need to upgrade to a station here. They will get a free upgrade to a station when they become a vassal. And they will also get a bonus to their overall production for having a Empire capital, much like we do in Unity. Proclos is in Finhabanis. It is the former homeworld of the First League. It is a relic world, and as such it gives a lot of good benefits to research. So this is going to be my primary research world. It has, because we cleared up the blockers in front of the central spire, 8 researcher jobs just from that, and I can add more. However, it also has the ability to build 2 of every strategic resource mining. So we are going to end up filling 6 of these slots with strategic resource gathering. And I'm getting an Otto Cthon monument in this slot. That leaves 1 slot left that I have not specialized anything into. And it is most likely going to be a research institute, just to boost the 8 researchers I have. So it pretty much isn't going to get too awfully much more research output unless I wanted to give up some of the strategic resource gathering or give up the slave processing facility. But since 4 districts, I'm probably going to fill out all the mining districts, I do want the slave processing facility. Giving up some of the strategic resources would be about the only way to expand the research here. But I am going to develop this as kind of a mixed world. It does provide a decent amount of research right there. The 30% bonus to all fields, if I have no need later on of all of the strategic resource things, expanding the research from this planet might be worth it. But a better idea would actually end up being restoring this to a ecumenopolis. That will give us the arcology districts, but that is the current state of the Empire. We're doing hit and run tactics over here and slowly trying to conquer more ground. I've basically swept through the back here, but there is still a planet that needs to be captured. We do not have permission to travel through their territory. I do not believe. No. They have close borders with us. So the only way back and forth through here is there, because we have close borders with them, close borders with the Multics. This is the only system where we're able to pass through. So right now we're kind of cut off because there is 13k in fleets traveling around, lurking around right here, and I don't think I could get past them before they cut us off. So I need to distract them and cut down on these other forces that are headed towards them. Altogether, This would be a little over 6K, probably close to 7. Yeah, it would be 7.1K, and we are 6.6, but we're about to knock out 0.9K of their fleets, and then possibly another 2K of their fleets that are moving up. And I do have a few reinforcements up here, only about 3K worth, but the best bet is if we can lure this 15K fleet up this way, where we have a fairly large station with a full allotment of defense platforms that could really assist us in tearing down the fleet. And we have seen these defense platforms in action before. As a matter of fact, we saw enemy defense platforms in action here in Hazar that did quite a bit of damage to Strike Force Medusa. It is now back up to full strength. So before we end this, I'm going to do an insert here. Loremaster XP was asking about moving your capital in Stellaris, and he had suggested Fin Habanis because it would have been more centralized. Alright, so moving your capital is this button right here at the top right when you're looking at a planet. Now, moving your capital to this planet would cost me 250 influence, and it's not possible to do while you're at war. It will automatically move your capital if your capital is captured, I believe. Or actually, not just captured, but if you're in a total war and you lose the system entirely. But it would cost influence to shift a capital around. Now, also, when you shift a capital to a planet in the sector that is not the capital of the sector, it will also move the sector capital. Now, when you move the sector capital to a planet, it will redraw which systems belong to this sector. Now, the way that they have it currently, a sector is 4 jumps from the capital system. Now, Dultari is the current capital with Leffingwell in there. And, of course, I can't have in my sector systems that I don't control. So 4 jumps away, it goes to Ofang, Koldax, Niamba, Rastaban, and Logum, and that is the extent of the sector. Fin Habanis is likewise 1 jump away from Ofang, so there would be no redraw of the sector if I did switch it over. But it would also switch over the capital to Fin Habanis. Now, with the upcoming 3.8 Gemini update, they are re-adding the ability to modify sectors. In the current game system, the only way to modify what a sector encompasses is to shift your capital. So if I wanted to get these down here, I would need a colony closer, like if I had Niamba and shifted the capital. 1, 2, 3, it could get all of those and all of these in one sector and make this a single sector. But I would have to shift the capital to Niamba for that to happen. That is currently the only way to do it, to modify your sector. So if I wanted Citadel to be part of this sector, I would have to shift the capital from Deneb to Flaxington, because Flaxington would be 1 jump closer. I'd have to remove this sector to get that included, and then this would all be part of that sector. But I would have to move the capital to do that. That's the only way you can currently do it. Now, with the upcoming 3.8 Gemini update, when they add in the ability to edit sectors again, as long as it's in range, so I still would not be able to have Deneb the capital and have Citadel be part of it. But what I could do is expand the Citadel sector to include some other planets. I could even have the capital here at Leffingwell include this system and that system as part of this sector. Because I could edit it and say, okay, this system belongs to the Leffingwell sector. And then after I've done that, I could actually get rid of the Citadel sector and add it to the Leffingwell sector. Now, I'm not sure, it's been a while, why they originally removed the ability to modify sectors, whether it was due to exploitation by players of the way they tweak sectors, or whether it was due to problems with the integration. But now that they're adding it back, any information I would give on this playthrough about how sectors work is going to be somewhat invalidated. So I'm going to hold off on really going into more depth. If you really want to know how sectors work in the current method, there are plenty of probably tutorial videos out there. But let's just wait for 3.8 because it should be out shortly. And the new system will be implemented, and then of course we're going to have to relearn a new system on how to manage sectors. One thing I do not believe is going to change, which is the 4 jump distance for sectors. I don't think they're going to change that. They're just going to let you, as long as it's within 4 jumps, be able to shift borders of sectors a little bit between your other sectors. But that is the state of the Commonwealth, so thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.